Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Just an update this afternoon. There's so much going on. It's crazy. BAKKT is kind of, nobody's getting excited. Well, the people who say, oh, this is going to change the world, you need to understand these are derivative contracts. They don't even hide it. They say they're futures contracts. Now there's a delivery component. Let's see how many deliveries we get today. How about that? But hardly any has traded hands, at least compared to the exchanges, which makes you think, where's the real fraud, within BAKKT or in the exchanges? The highly anticipated Bitcoin's future platform launches with minimal volume. The long-awaited launch of BAKKT, the Bitcoin futures trading platform of the Intercontinental Exchange, has finally happened. More than a year in waiting, BAKKT opened for trading today, September 23rd. However, the trading volume as of yet is rather low, and the community is wondering whether it will pick up and if the hype was justified. BAKKT Markets, as it's officially dubbed, is open for trading. According to the official website, the platform aims to bring federally regulated price discovery. That's just scary right there. Federally regulated price discovery to the Bitcoin market. It uses the same technology which powers the global markets of ICE, which is also the owner of the New York Stock Exchange. One of the key differences between BAKKT and existing Bitcoin futures trading platforms is that the former's contracts are settled physically. This means that instead of receiving the cash equivalent upon contract expiration, traders receive actual Bitcoins. This should, in theory, produce better price discovery and increase market liquidity. Up to this moment, however, there have only been 27 contracts traded on the platform, which is rather low. Of course, the platform only launched a few hours ago. BAKKT is seen as a gateway for institutional investors to enter the Bitcoin market, mainly because of its regulated warehousing and supposed improved price discovery. The price discovery of futures, not of Bitcoin. Oh my God. It never ends. The company reportedly received a license from the New York State Department of Financial Services. Bitcoin market remains unfazed until just recently, a couple hours ago. Boom, crypto's just mini flash crashed. Shortly after 10:15 Eastern Time, the crypto space was suddenly hit by a wave of selling that slammed Bitcoin down over $200 almost instantaneously, only to rapidly recover. It's a game, my friends. BAKKT is a tool. Now, was BAKKT involved in this at all? I don't think so. I mean, look at the volume on BAKKT. There's no volume. This whole thing is really weird. Because if people start taking delivery of Bitcoin, it might show that the exchanges themselves are the fraud and not BAKKT. Who knows? I don't know, but clearly there's not a lot of interest in BAKKT right now, because anybody who had interest would already go out and buy Bitcoin. And why buy it on an exchange when you get it OTC for cheaper in the volume you want? I don't know, but is this suspicious? Yeah, probably. Is it a game played by someone with a mouse? Yes. The entire crypto space dumped and pumped. So it dived down and then shot back up. There's no obvious headline catalyst, but we do note that the ICE-backed platform launched physically delivered Bitcoin futures today and could potentially have exaggerated the move. Again, 27 contracts traded is not an exaggeration of the move. Taking a wider view, Fundstrat analyst and well-known Bitcoin bull Tom Lee tweeted on September 20th that, quote, he was very positive on BAKKT and its ability to improve trust with institutions to crypto. Yeah, okay. Now let's talk about CME, of course, just today, while BAKKT says, okay, yeah, we're open for business, CME launches options. So they already got futures, now they got options on Bitcoin. So it never ends. Now let's talk about FUD. What does FUD mean? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Who spreads the FUD? And with spreading a FUD, it's either someone wants to drive the price of cryptos down, like a government or a big player who wants to get in, or it's someone who is really pissed off that they couldn't figure out Bitcoin in the early days and they're just kind of sad about it. That's this guy, Mike Adams, who runs the Natural News. He's been crying about Bitcoin since day one. once again, the quantum supremacy comes out, and he talks about Amazon breaking the code for quantum supremacy and blah, blah, blah. I am not worried about it. They're so far off in the future. It will come someday that quantum computing will hit that point where it can crack the SHA-256 and all the other things it needs to crack in Bitcoin. And what's Bitcoin going to do? People in Bitcoin are just going to migrate into a different wallet, a quantum resistant wallet using quantum computers. According to Andreas and everybody I've been listening to for when they talk about this stuff, it says, yeah, this is coming just like every other problem that comes in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's coming. It will find a solution and we'll move on. No solution is needed right now because Mike Adams is just singing up the wrong tree. We're far away from it. And even if the government had it, now they're saying Amazon has it. Well, if Amazon has it, they can crack all the nuclear codes in the world and set off the nuclear bomb. So I don't think the government is actually going to let them use their quantum machine that's going to break every code, cryptography code. I mean, come on, Mike, get real. So yeah, just another FUD, just another FUD, just another FUD. Is it important? Yeah, someday in the future. Is it a problem that's unsolvable? Not at all. There's even harder problems to solve than that one as we move forward. So I don't know anybody else to worry about it other than people who are kind of not really sure about cryptos in the first place. And so when you throw FUD out there, I get a lot of my customers going, oh my God, Bix, what's going to happen? You know, and another one was this one, someone I really like, who did an interview. Sarah Westall is great. Did this interview with Kent Lewis, but she's freaking out. Oh my God, the government owns your crypto. Of course, that government was involved in the creation of cryptocurrencies. That's their job. It's Alan Greenspan's job was a computer programmer for the Federal Reserve Board. That's what he did for a living. So yes, just because the government was involved in the creation of Bitcoin doesn't mean they're going to take over the world. That's dreaming the dragons. They're both dreaming dragons. Kent Lewis, yeah, smart guy. But we already knew the government was involved. Read the Road to Ruta stuff. Look at the Road to Ruta comics back in 2007. They need proof that there's people behind the scenes doing stuff. Absolutely. So I'm not. The FUD doesn't get to me anymore. Hopefully it doesn't get to you guys. You've been on the Road to Ruta long enough. It's just FUD. Now FUD is kind of like that term false flag. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt doesn't mean it's not really things to be fearful of and uncertain of and have doubt for. Absolutely. FUD is FUD. But some's fake FUD and some's real FUD and some won't happen for decades. So should we keep an eye on quantum computing? Sure. Should we keep an eye on the Fed being in charge of Bitcoin? Sure. I wouldn't say it's in charge of Bitcoin. Yes, they did create the cryptocurrencies, I believe. And that's not a secret, though. That's the other thing. It's not a secret. So, yeah. Should you stay out of cryptocurrencies because of any of this stuff? No. And if you don't feel comfortable, don't buy any. Go buy gold and silver. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, stay in fiat money. Don't stress yourself out. Life's too short. Speaking of, well, obviously go buy silver, up 68 cents on the day, which is a great move. It was allowed to stay up there even. But it's ridiculous. The decimal point of $18.64 silver should be moved over to. Should be $1,864 based on supply and demand. There ain't no silver left. And all of a sudden, the biggest market rigger on planet Earth, JP Morgan, is being taken out after 11 years of rigging the silver market. And they just took it over from Bear Stearns, who took it over from AIG, who took it over from Drexel Burnham, who took it over for the U.S. government, who took it over from England back in the 1850s. Silver is the bank killer. So if you don't like banks, go get yourself a bunch of silver. And if you're worried about the FUD and cryptos, don't cry about it. Just go buy silver. If you don't believe that silver is going to go up, stay in the U.S. dollar. Don't get involved until you're comfortable. In the meantime, those who fell for the FUD in the early days when Bitcoin was $200 or $100 or $10, like Mike, good old Mike Adams, he was told early on. And he's like, no. So anybody who followed him, it's like Chris Duane. Anybody who follow these guys, you're left out. You don't need to participate. It's fine. But don't cry at us that you know the secret that they're going to decode Bitcoin and you're going to lose all your money in Bitcoin. Because he's been saying the same thing the whole time. The whole time. 10 years of it. So Mike just blew it. He should have got some balls and bought some Bitcoin in the early days, and he wouldn't have to run around trying to spread FUD. If you want more information on quantum computing, just look up Andreas Antonopoulos' talks on. He talks about quantum computing, how it will at some point be able to break the code, but we can easily move different encryption technology for the wallets and various other things, and they're not going to care. You know, these are government players really can only afford it. Amazon maybe. If Amazon ever became dangerous so that they can break the code of the NSA and the CIA, you don't think they'd be taken out instantly? Come on, Mike. Think a little harder. Anyway, silver's doing great. Interesting news. CEO of Dance Bank, who I talked about this morning, mysteriously disappears as fraud intensifies. Remember, bankers don't go missing. Bankers don't commit suicide when things are going well. Only when they start falling apart. We saw it in 2008, and we're starting to see it again. This guy has disappeared. But remember, all the money laundering that was done out of Dance Bank and Deutsche Bank and all that shit had to be approved by their board of directors, their compliance officers, their senior management, the SWIFT system, the EU. Money cannot go back and forth without their explicit and signed off approval. So you tell me, EU, who are the real criminals? The higher up you go, the dirtier they get. Paul Singer, huge hedge fund guy, said, I love this quote. He said, the global financial system is very much toward the risky end of the spectrum in terms of debt. Singer said during a panel in Aspen, quote, global debt is at an all-time high. Derivatives are at all-time highs. And it took all of this monetary easing to get where we are today. Duh. How long have we had to say it? Duh. We're on the brink of something huge. As a matter of fact, big company just went kaput in the UK. Thomas Cook Travel. We've all heard of Thomas Cook Travel. They go under, and bankruptcy, 650,000 travelers stranded around the world. It's going to get really crazy, and this is just a sign of things to come. Things are not well. Things are bad. And we have never been so highly levered in the history of humanity, and the derivative bubble is just waiting for that one little pinprick, that last pinprick. So hang on tight. It's Bix Weir, roadtoruhr.com. Talk to you later.